Parker Schnabel became a household name through Gold Rush, where his sharp instincts, relentless work ethic, and fearless approach to mining turned him into one of Discovery Channel's biggest stars. On screen, viewers saw gold totals roaring, machinery, and dramatic deadlines, but behind the scenes, Parker's rise to fame was anything but smooth. The pressure to succeed, the weight of massive financial risks, and the constant presence of cameras created tension that often spilled over into rivalries and fractured relationships. Now, at 29, Parker has been more open about how difficult those years really were, and about the cast members who made his time on Gold Rush a constant uphill battle. These weren't just TV rivalries manufactured for drama. They were real conflicts, fueled by pride, money, leadership struggles, and clashing personalities. To understand why these relationships became so strained, it helps to understand where Parker came from and what was truly at stake every season. Parker grew up around gold. His grandfather, John Schnabel, was a respected miner and the owner of the Big Nugget Mine in Alaska, and Parker spent much of his childhood watching gold come out of the ground. Summers at Big Nugget weren't vacations. They were training grounds. From a young age, Parker learned how to run equipment, read ground, and understand the brutal realities of mining. By his late teens, he wasn't just helping, he was running parts of the operation. Season by season, audiences watched him evolve from a determined teenager into one of the most successful miners on the show. Parker has repeatedly said that mining isn't a game, it's real work with real consequences. Crews invest millions before a single ounce of gold is found, buying massive machines, leasing land, and paying workers long before there's any guarantee of success. Some seasons leave absolutely no room for error, especially after major land deals that raise the pressure to perform. When the stakes are that high, every decision matters. That pressure shaped Parker's leadership style. He became focused, blunt, and results-driven, often talking in pure business terms. What moves dirt faster? What keeps the crew safe? And what puts gold in the sluice boxes? Those traits helped him grow his operation, but they also created friction with people who didn't share his approach. Adding another layer to all of this was the reality of television production. Gold Rush crews filmed for months, capturing countless hours of footage that producers later shape into episodes. Editors highlight conflict, compress timelines, and amplify arguments to keep viewers engaged. According to producers, this isn't about fabricating drama, but about choosing the moments that best tell a story. Still, that process can make real disagreements look even bigger on screen, turning everyday tensions into headline rivalries. When you combine Parker's upbringing, the enormous financial pressure, his intense leadership style, and the way reality TV is edited, it becomes clear why Gold Rush often feels explosive. And that brings us to the people Parker clashed with most. Todd was a dominant presence in the early seasons, known for big dreams, bold claims, and fierce competitiveness. From the very beginning, Todd's crew was positioned against Parker's, and what started as competition quickly turned personal. In interviews, Todd admitted there was a genuine dislike between them. Parker, however, painted a harsher picture, saying Todd had a very personal dislike for him that bordered on hatred. Parker initially believed their rivalry was just friendly competition, but over time it became clear that Todd took things far more personally. On-screen moments reinforced this, including confrontations at trade shows where Todd openly called Parker arrogant and vowed to beat him at any cost. Todd later suggested that part of his resentment came from feeling Parker didn't show enough respect to older miners. Whether that was true or not, their rivalry went far beyond gold totals and became one of the most memorable feuds in the show's history. Another complicated relationship was with Gene Cheeseman, one of Parker's foremen and early mentors. Gene wasn't just a crew member. He was someone Parker leaned on heavily during his early years as a mine boss. But as Parker grew more confident and assertive, cracks began to form. During season 6, tensions between them became obvious, and by the finale, Parker admitted that losing Gene was the biggest challenge his crew faced that year. Gene left Parker's operation and later worked with other miners, including Tony Beets, which only fueled speculation. Reports suggested that Gene struggled with taking orders from someone so young and disagreed with Parker's decisions. Over time, however, Parker's tone softened. He later said they had both moved on, still spoke occasionally, and that he learned a great deal from Gene. Their conflict wasn't a dramatic betrayal, but a slow, drift one built on changing roles, expectations, and the strain of leadership under pressure. Rick Ness represents a different kind of tension, one rooted in friendship rather than rivalry. Rick started as one of Parker's most trusted crew members and worked his way up through sheer determination. For years, they worked side by side, but as Rick gained confidence, he began to think like a boss himself. In 2018, Rick made a major decision without consulting Parker, nearly costing him his job. That moment marked a turning point. Soon after, Rick left Parker's crew to run his own mining operation. While there was no explosive fallout, their relationship changed. Parker later acknowledged that there was distance between them and made it clear he wouldn't force fake reconciliations for the sake of TV. Their story isn't about hatred. It's about two people growing in different directions under intense pressure, a reality many viewers found relatable. Then there's Tony Beets, one of the most powerful and intimidating figures on Gold Rush. Tony is a veteran miner, a landowner, and often a gatekeeper in the Klondike. His relationship with Parker has always been tense but layered with mutual respect. They've clashed over land rights, royalties, and business decisions, most notably when Parker leased ground from Tony and had to give up 20% of his gold. As Parker's operation grew, that cut became increasingly painful, turning their landlord-tenant relationship into a major source of conflict. Despite public arguments and moments where they refused to help each other, Parker has said that he and Tony can still sit down for coffee when necessary. Their rivalry is less about personal hatred and more about power, pride, and high-stakes business. Finally, some fans believe the person Parker struggles with most is himself. From a young age, he carried enormous responsibility, and as his success grew, so did the pressure. Parker has openly admitted that managing people is the hardest part of his job and that the fear of making costly mistakes weighs heavily on him. Public failures, missed gold targets, and unforgiving deadlines aren't just business setbacks, they're personal burdens when millions of viewers are watching. Parker has also acknowledged that his lifestyle makes relationships outside of mining difficult, adding another layer of isolation. In many ways, his greatest battles aren't with rival miners, but with his own expectations, perfectionism, and the relentless demands of his career. So the real question remains, were these feuds simply part of life in a high-pressure mining world, or did some of them cut far deeper than we ever saw on TV? The answer likely lies somewhere in between. What's clear is that Gold Rush isn't just about gold, it's about ambition, ego, sacrifice, and the human cost of chasing success. Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more behind the scenes stories.